Alright guys, so it's currently November 20th, 2024, and this week so far I've taken two trades. One resulted in a $550 loss and the other one resulted in a $240 win. So I'll show you guys my Top Step account right here. As you can see, we have the trade history, 240 and 550. Right, and the current balance is $50,402.10. So currently on the week we are negative. And yeah, let's just get into the trades. So we're on the 1 hour time frame, and basically my whole thought process on this was like, okay, we had an hourly sweep, right? We drew a fib from the bottom to the top up here, and this is where equilibrium is. And previously price had rejected off this area quite a few times, so I decided to take a long position, right? Because I thought price could potentially reach out this high. But as you can see, we clearly went lower, right? What I should have done was, we had an hourly sweep, right? Got a high, price rejected lower, price went up, and we should have seen this as some kind of retracement to continue lower, right? But honestly, it is what it is. As for the entry, right, I was looking to take an entry on this hourly fair value gap right over here. So basically, when we started to reject out this area, or this hourly fair value gap previously, I was like, okay, I'll just set the limit order at the bottom right over here. And that's when I decided to take a long. As you can see, price immediately just dumped, right? We were below the equilibrium range, and this is where the entry was. Once we got entered, price just dumped, and yeah, I mean, it just went lower. This trade honestly was really bad. It was really bad. This is not an A+ trade at all. Not gonna lie, I felt the need to just take a trade, right? Like, it kind of felt like an itch, right? And it resulted in a loss. Like, yes, I mean, sometimes price does, reject off the hourly fair value gap to continue higher, to take out this. That's my thought process at the time. But realistically, that's not really my strategy, right? I need to wait for an hourly sweep, which I guess we had here, but after the sweep, we would continue either lower or higher, right? And this time, like, we already missed an opportunity here because it was out of the New York Silver Bullet range. But here, right, like, we didn't get any more hourly sweeps after this, so we should have still expected price to continue lower. And yeah, I mean, the entry was bad on this. Overall risk was horrible on this. There's not much more to say about this trade, guys. So let's just move on to the next one. Alright guys, so moving on to the next trade here on the 1 hour time frame, we have an hourly sweep right over here. Right, at this point I'm looking for price to go lower, and that's because we went price went all the way up here without any sort of retracement. So I drew a fib, and I'm looking for price to continue towards equilibrium and towards this hourly fair value gap. Alright guys, so we're currently on the 1 minute time frame. Basically, I drew a fib from the top to the bottom right here. When price retraced up, I decided to look for a fair value gap to take an entry on, right? So we're above equilibrium, and we have a fair value gap right over here, which I decided to leave the entry at the top of the fair value gap. All right, as you can see, we faced minimal drawdown, and we went straight to TP. And so instead of selecting this as the TP right here, I decided to select this previous low, because honestly, I thought this low could get swept, right? So yeah, I mean, this was a pretty clean trade. At first, before any of this price action even formed, I was looking for a trade like right over here. I was looking for an entry up here, right? There is a fair value gap, as you can see, right over here. But we never got it, so it is what it is, right? Eventually, when we did print price lower, I redrew the fib and we took an entry off this area right here. Minimal drawdown, straight to TP. I thought this trade was well executed. It had majority of the things we needed to look for before entering. And yeah, I mean, break a structure, displacement, retracement, continue lower, right? So that'll be all for now. I'll catch you guys in the next trade. All right, guys. So today is currently November 22nd, 2024. And basically, since the last trade recap, I took 2 trades. One resulted in a $43 loss and the other one resulted in a $555 win. So yeah, let's just get into it. Basically, the whole trade idea behind the $43 loss was that we had an hourly sweep and we were inside a daily fair value gap, right? So at this point, I'm looking for price to reject and continue lower. So my bias was the short. I think where I went wrong here was that price went all the way down without giving me a retracement into a inefficiency on the lower time frame. So I never actually got an entry to continue lower. And once price did reach this area, I think we already missed the move. So that was where I went wrong. However, when price did retrace up again, I did set a limit order. And yeah, I mean, we eventually got entered into the trade and we took a loss. We had SMTs at the bottom right here. This should have been an indicator that price was continuing higher. However, because we had the hourly sweep and the inside the daily fair value gap, I was still looking for price to reject, right? So we also drew a fib from the top to the bottom down here, and our entry was at this area right over here, right? So we wanted to short in premium, right? So initially, let me make this bigger. Initially, this was the whole risk to reward, right? So 1.79. However, I think I actually misclicked the stop loss somewhere, because eventually, like, the stop loss was moved all the way down here, which, not gonna lie, I'm grateful, because I would have actually taken a bigger loss than just $43. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I was shocked, right? I thought I would, at this point, when price was up here, I never actually looked at my Top Step account. But like, and during this time, I thought we were still in the trade, but I double checked it and apparently we got stopped, right? The whole trade idea was that price went back up to this 15-minute fair value gap, and we just took an entry to go short. As you can see, for the first half, we were in profit, but then price just continued higher and we eventually got stopped out. So, I mean, there's not too much to say about this trade. I think where I definitely could have gone better was a retracement in this area somewhere here. Like, I do think I actually got a bit greedy over here. Like, I could have definitely taken an entry right here, but personally, I just preferred, like, you know, for price to retrace a little bit higher before continuing lower, right? So that was another way I definitely could have improved on this trade as well. Because this was still past the equilibrium point and we were also in a inefficiency, which could have totally been a good trade. But you know what? It is what it is. You know, there is definitely some kind of power watching over me, because I don't know what happened, but you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it. We took a reduced loss. I will take it. So yeah, let's just move on to the next trade. Alright guys, so moving on to the next trade. The approach to this one was a little bit different, but yeah, let's just get into it. So basically on the 1 hour time frame, the trade began actually in London. So let's just go right here. So at this point, I'm like, okay, there is a lot of sell side liquidity resting right over here, right? And I'm looking for this area to get swept, right? So basically, at this point, we're in a 1 hour fair value gap, and I'm either expecting price to bounce off this 1 hour fair value gap and take out all these highs, or sweep these relative equal lows and then continue higher, right? So I waited patiently, right? And eventually, after the London session, actually, let's go into a lower time frame on the 1 minute. Oh, actually, there was a trade over here, an opportunity that I did miss out on, but you know what? It is what it is. Basically, there was two ways that I thought this trade could play out. We either reject off the hourly to take out these previous highs over here, or we continue lower to take out the relative equal lows over here. Basically, the whole idea was this area right over here. So after the London session ended, price did slowly continue lower. And at this point, this is where I set my limit order, right? Because it was also getting late, I kind of just wanted to, I didn't want to sit at the charts anymore. So I just kind of left the limit right here and my stop loss right below the equilibrium right over here. So I drew this equilibrium from the bottom here to the top up here. And as you can see, we almost got stopped out. To be honest, this trade was the original stop loss was somewhere in this area right over here. But then I was like, you know what? For safe measures, let's just leave it right over here somewhere, right? So we got really lucky with this trade, guys, because we could have gone stopped out and that would have been it. But basically, price retraced towards equilibrium and rejected off of this order block to continue higher, right? So multiple times we almost got stopped out, but thank God, right? So at this point, we're in the trade. We swept the resting liquidity resting right here, and price starts to continue higher. And at this point, I believe it was actually, for me at least, it was 6:30 around this time. Price continued all the way up, and yeah, we decided to actually take profit at 20,845 right over here. It is at this point I was up 500 something, 555, and I didn't want to risk giving it back, right? Because I did take a massive loss this week as well, a $550 loss. So I wanted to just, take the profit and end the week off green, right? So yeah, I mean, I thought I was, at this point, I felt like I was pushing it, right? We started to see some kind of resistance with price. So I decided to just close the trade right over here. And as you can see, if we play price forward, price went all the way down. And honestly, this gave me such a mental ease at mind, right? And then if we do play price forward again, price continues up higher and we actually end up sweeping let's continue this high right over here. So we did definitely miss out on some profit. However, I'm totally okay with that. We ended off in a profit, right? So basically the whole idea was that we had resting sell side, we swept the buy side liquidity right here, and basically price retraced towards equilibrium. Definitely I could have gone better entry, right, somewhere over here, but I didn't want to risk not getting in this trade. I know honestly, I had a strong conviction in that these highs would get swept, and I wanted to be in the action when it happened. So I decided to just put a limit order below these lows. However, 100% I could have gone a better entry right over here, because bro, if we actually set the entry somewhere in some kind of inefficiency near equilibrium, oh my god, the profit would have been so much higher. But you know what, I'll take it. I'm very happy with how this trade turned out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, so that'll be all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. There's also a link in the description below for a free Discord server, and I hope we could all join to help each other out. But yeah, I mean, this week we eventually did end up in a profit of $202. So that was a nice little surprise for Friday. As you can see here, our account balance is currently at $911.14. Or we're up that much, right? And that's the highest we've ever been up so far on the challenge. So yeah, let's keep it up. And let's see, is there anything I want to say? I guess what I want to say is that recently I feel like the time and effort that I put into trading is definitely paying off, right? And for those of you who are on the same journey as me, who have just started, right? Just know that your time and effort will pay off. Like, you'll find your way. And, you don't have to rush it, right? Just take your time, step by step. And honestly, what really helped me take it slow, or like stay consistent with the whole learning process and just trading in general, was documenting my journey, right? So yeah, I mean, take your time and just trust in the process. So anyways, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.